Hi, Dr. Bethany Flora here. I want to spend just a few minutes before each of the sections that I will be teaching telling you some personal stories, really local, institutional, kind of policy level stories that I have, or just personal experiences related to some of the readings that you have been assigned, both in the How College Affects Students section, and then I'll also be adding a personal story for the diversity and access section. The How College Affects Students reading is truly a seminal piece of work that any professor of higher education probably keeps on their bookshelf, and I have seen administrators of higher education keep these in their office. So we are presenting you with a piece of work here that we think will carry you throughout the next season of your career, probably. What Pasquarella and Terenzini have done in this book is they've distilled a lot of research, both cognitive variables and non-cognitive variables in the student development process related to the higher education experience. We want you to enjoy this work. We want you to highlight and distill in your reading analysis some of the key themes and findings that you find most insightful related to maybe your current role as an administrator or as a faculty member at a community college. I was fortunate to study under Dr. Don Creamer, and Dr. Creamer was the guru, the driving force behind the Council for the Advancement of Standards. This is called CAS, C-A-S, CAS Standards. The Council for the Advancement of Standards is a body of work around non-academic unit program review. So we are probably all familiar with SACs and professional accrediting body programmatic review requirements, but I wanted to spend some time briefly here talking about non-academic programmatic review. So these are reviews of programs like student affairs units on your campus or other auxiliary units on campus. Even dining services, for instance, has a CAS standard related to it. Dr. Creamer and his colleagues believed it was very important to elevate and enhance the role of all co-curricular and curricular, and go back and think about the cognitive and non-cognitive variables in student development. He believed that in addition to academic program review, these support programs, or the academic affairs and the student affairs, could come together and also advance a set of standards related to student outcomes for those non-academic units. I wanted to bring your attention to this because I believe as you familiarize yourself with the CAS standards and also the academic program review standards on your college campuses, you can see how those work in concert to really articulate, using empirical evidence, how college does affect students. We can all talk about the way it affects us, and we can tell stories about the impact, but truly, to be leaders of higher education, we also need to be scholars who can talk about the research contributions and the learning outcome contributions of the work that we do. So as you're going into this book, I know it's a lot of reading, but I do want you to take time to familiarize yourself with your academic program review process at your community college, and also the CAS standards. I think the CAS standards will be very important to you as you move forward, because we are seeing more student affairs units in development within community college campuses as there's an increased attention on recruitment and retention and success of students. We see the interplay of both co-curricular and curricular importance at the community colleges. Now, I'm going to leave you with a little bit of higher ed irony. I always tend to throw out some higher ed irony, and I wrote this down because I'm going to read it to you because it's a true story. It's what happened to me. So Dr. Don Creamer was leaving the program and retiring, and I was interviewing for my doctoral program, and I was so nervous, right? Because this is the guru of student affairs and higher education. And so I go into the room, it's a one-on-one setting, close the door, sit down, and we talked about my experiences, and he asked me very point blank, he said, "Bethany, what is your opinion of the role of students on a college campus?" Well, he had already highlighted the fact several times that I was an academic administrator, not necessarily a student affairs administrator. And so I was very eager to impress him and to articulate that, I'm a utility player, right? And so I told him all about my commitment to students, and that the undergraduate experience in particular was what it was all about. And I think I babbled for a while. But when I finished, Dr. Creamer looked me square in the eye and he said, "Bethany, students are a byproduct of a university. And the sooner that you accept that, the more successful you will be here." And I sat back in my seat and did not know what to say. Fast forward, and I'm walking back from a meeting across campus with a vice president for research. And he gets kind of quiet. And I say, Bill, what's wrong? And he said, well, you know, Bethany, I'm getting ready to retire. And you know what keeps me up at night? We've made it all about research. We've forgotten it's about students. We've really forgotten what it's all about. And he was so somber and so quiet. And so how interesting that the student affairs guru at that campus told me it was all about research. And the research guru told me it was all about students. And you know, I think it's both. And so I believe how college affects students really does bring together both. You're seeing the seminal piece of research to use in your conversations to help convince the public of the importance of a college education, but we're not going to lose our focus that it is all about the student. It is all about their learning and about their learning outcomes. So enjoy this book. I can't wait to hear your thoughts related to the readings, and I will see you online soon. Thank you.